Hello, hello! Welcome to what is affectionately being, termed as the Moffice in the Ninebarrow household. It's the office slash music room, and therefore we've coined the term Moffice. We used to have a little office kind of slash studio in a little box room over the landing, but we've expanded into here because did a bit of DIY and managed to create some stands slash ledges attached to all of the walls for the instruments in here. You might have seen my previous DIY video on that. It's just meant that we've created a lot more room in here, and it just means we can now fit in a desk, which is a luxury. So the album launch is a pre-record, as you know, and so that involves someone editing the whole thing together. We shot on 5 camera angles this time, captured the sound separately, and that all has to be combined together in one show. And I thought it might be interesting just to dive in and show you a little bit of behind the scenes footage as to how that happens. So we'll switch angles now, so I'll show you exactly what is on the screen behind me, yeah, let's dive in and have a look. So first things first, if you can hear a kind of whirring, humming sound in the background, that's the fans in my laptop desperately trying to keep it cool as I do the editing. It's pretty intensive in terms of the processor usage, so the whole unit gets very, very hot. So if you can hear that, that is why. So I'm going to look up now because actually the monitor I'm looking at is a little bit above. So forgive me as I stop making eye contact with you. But yeah, have a look at this. This is the suite I'm using to edit this. If I make this image, this preview window a little bit smaller, you start to be able to see the scale of what we've got going on here, because we've got our video channels, 5 video channels here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for each video channel, for each camera, there is its own audio, which are these grey ones here, which we won't be using because the camera audio is pretty rubbish. But down below, we've got this piece of audio, which is the main audio that we capture from our microphones and stuff, which is the high quality one. So if I zoom out, just to give you a sense of the scale of the show, and if I just bring that down there so you can start to see, there we go, start to see all of the camera angles. So that there is the full show, and every one of these blue boxes is a different camera angle, and every one of these grey boxes is a piece of audio that we're not using, and every one of these green ones at the bottom is a piece of audio that we are using, and as you can imagine, it is a little bit of a nightmare keeping this all synchronized, because at the beginning of each half you do a clackerboard, so you've got a reference point to start matching up all of the audio with all of the video, but inevitably it's not always that easy when you're editing something that's this long and this complicated to keep everything in sync. And so the reason that I keep camera audio as well as our recorded audio together is because what you can do is you can see here that you've got the waveforms of this grey one here is the audio that was recorded through the camera, which is very low quality, and we obviously don't want to use it. This green audio down here is the audio that was recorded through our digital mixing desk, which is the one we want to use. But you can zoom in and you can double check sometimes that the whole thing matches up perfectly, and you can zoom in really, really closely just to check that the waveforms match entirely. It's just been such a pleasure putting this together. We're working with a guy called Andrew Marsh, who's a fabulous lighting engineer, works with Sturminster Newton Exchange in Dorset, and he really understood the difficulties of filming with different types of lighting. I'll flick through and give you some different some different perspectives. You've got to match the colours very carefully, so that you get skin tone looking accurate. It's not a simple procedure of just going in and saying, let's do the gig. We spent an entire day setting up not only the audio, but the lighting and the video, testing the shots. We tested every single lighting state to make sure that it looked as good on camera as it did in the real world. And if I flick through, you'll see we've used some really different colour schemes, throughout the show. And we obviously wanted them all to look brilliant on camera. The vast majority of them looked great the first time. Some of these, I think this is a reverse. I love this reverse angle looking out into the church. It's just a beautiful one. And the church itself just looks absolutely incredible behind us. Most of them worked really well. Or at the end of day one, we took home the footage, tested it all out, did some editing, and just made sure that it was all working. There are a couple of them that colours just didn't quite work, so we went back the next day, we re-edited, and we came up with something slightly different. But it is just a spectacular building, and it lights so beautifully. In so many different colours. So it's probably, I mean, I don't know how many hours I've spent on this now. It's about, I lost count really. It's been a week I've been working on it. It's one of the most enjoyable edits I've done. Because we had the time to prep, which is a luxury we don't usually get, it's really meant that the editing process has been a little bit easier, and we've had to do a little less kind of bodging, for want of a better word, bodging some of the angles to make sure that they look good when we broadcast them. So anyway, there you go. That's a little bit of a background as to what this editing suite looks like, and yeah, the process that I have to go through to get it to you guys on the night. And I'm pleased to report that I'm not a million miles away from being finished, which is fabulous news. Anyway, see you soon.